democracy is always respect for words, and international law is also about respect for words, but they only work and they could only be active if they're backed with actions. When a word literally means actions, we need to
Ukraine pleaded to Western countries for faster deliveries of weapons as better armed Russian forces pounded the east of the country, and for humanitarian support to combat growing outbreaks of deadly diseases. In Sievierodonetsk, the small city that has become the focus of Russia's advance in eastern Ukraine and one of the bloodiest flashpoints in a war well into its fourth month, further heavy fighting was reported. The war in the east, where Russia is focusing its attention, is now primarily an artillery battle in which Kyiv is severely outgunned, Ukrainian officials say.
It's so tempting for the Russian state. We need to move to actions that Ukraine should be a part of the European family. In the coming weeks and days, the European Union may take a historic step that will prove that words about the belonging of Ukrainian people to the European family are not just words and not empty.
That means the tide of events could be turned only if Washington and others fulfill promises to send more and better weaponry, including rocket systems. This is an artillery war now, Vadym Skibitsky, Ukraine's deputy head of military intelligence, told Britain's Guardian newspaper. Everything now depends on what the West gives us. Ukraine has one artillery piece to 10 to 15 Russian artillery pieces. Germany, among the largest suppliers of weapons since Russia invaded but criticized for being slow to supply the heavy weaponry Kyiv says it needs, plans to revise its rules on arms exports to make it easier to arm democracies like Ukraine, Der Spiegel reported on Friday. To the south, the mayor of Mariupol, reduced to ruins by a Russian siege, said sanitation systems were broken and corpses were rotting in the streets. There is an outbreak of dysentery and cholera, Vadym Skibitsky told national television. The war, which took over 20,000 residents, unfortunately, with these infection outbreaks, will claim thousands more Mariupolites, he said, adding some wells had been contaminated by corpses. Skibitsky called on the United Nations and the International Committee of the Red Cross to establish a humanitarian corridor to allow remaining residents to leave the city, which is now under Russian control. In a snapshot of the war's wider impact, the UN Food Agency said reduced exports of wheat and other food commodities from Ukraine and Russia could inflict chronic hunger on up to 19 million more people globally over the next year.